And we welcome you to the Cleveland Browns practice facility. It's Giants training camp report presented by Investors Bank. I'm Bob Papa with two-time Super Bowl champion David Diehl as the Giants begin joint practices with the Browns here on Thursday and again tomorrow on Friday before their preseason game in Cleveland on Sunday afternoon. And David, you participated in some of these intra-squad practices. What is the benefit of two teams working together?
Well, I think it's a great benefit for both sides because they're going to get different looks, whether it's from Kevin Stefanski's offense or Joe Woods' defense. So it prepares you for the different type of game adjustments that you're going to make. Because let's face it, at this point in camp, you've seen enough of Patrick Graham's defense. You're ready to see and experience what you're going to be having during the regular season.
Daniel Jones is going to get an opportunity to work against a very talented Browns defense, as you see Evan Ingram making a nice catch for the New York Giants. And this is a defense of the Cleveland Browns that has got a lot of good pass rushers, so we're going to get a good feel of where this Giants starting offensive line is really at.
No doubt, and it's not only going to be in team periods, but more specifically in one-on-ones when they're going to be challenged. And the one thing that you know about Joe Woods' defense is this defensive line moves. They're going to stem, they're going to penetrate, they're going to twist, they're going to stun. Those are all things that are going to prepare this offensive line, not only with communication, but making sure they're on the same page with their techniques and fundamentals.
All right, the Giants right now have their tight ends and running backs working against the linebacking core of the Cleveland Browns as Daniel Jones kind of looking over the defense and threads the needle right there and able to hit, his tight end coming out of the backfield against 10-year veteran Malcolm Smith.
Yeah, these are the types of things that you try to work on. Everybody's going to get one-on-one experience, whether it's up against linebackers, up against safeties at the running back position and at the tight end position. But once again, constantly getting as many reps and as much work as you can to really polish up and hone in on your skills. Because come Sunday, there are going to be no coaches, there's going to be no individual drills. It's just you out there, and you're going to have to perform.
And we just got a look at Gary Brightwell, the Giants' sixth-round draft pick out of Arizona, making a catch and beating the linebacker. David, you mentioned the fact that when you're going through training camp and you're practicing not only against the defense on a regular basis, but the individual personnel, it's just human nature. You have your own scouting report on who you're going against. Now you have different movement that you're dealing with.
No doubt about it. I mean, figure the times that OCU Manure and I would go up against one another. We knew specifically where we lined up, where your feet were, where you're going to place your hands. It's completely different when you get here and you practice up against another team. And it's so beneficial for an offensive lineman because you may be showing your hand early, maybe sitting a little too light in your stance if it's a pass, maybe being too heavy in your stance if it's a run. They're going to be able to deceptivize and, more importantly, identify some of those weaknesses in your game that when it comes to game time, you've got to prepare week in and week out because those are the things that defensive coordinators and defensive players are looking at.
Cullen Gillespie, the Giants fullback, just beat Jacob Phillips, the middle linebacker, a third-round pick out of LSU last year. And this is not only, David, is this great work for the players, but this is going to give not only the Giants but the Cleveland Browns a first-hand look at personnel on the other team because, remember, the rosters are at 85 right now.
Yep.
At some point, they're going to have to get down to 53, and every team, has a wealth of talent somewhere. And it could be an area where you have a lack of talent, and maybe a guy that you practice against might be a better option than someone that's on your own team.
No doubt about it. I remember talking to the young players going into a preseason game and being like, you're not only competing up against the players on this squad, you're competing up against 31 other teams. Now with the amount of joint practices that the NFL teams are doing with going on to 3 preseason games instead of having 4, there's going to be game film, there's going to be exposure during practice, and every coach is going to be sitting here looking at their roster when they have to round down and get to that 53 on August 31st, who are the best players that we can assemble that fit our schemes.
One of the things that the Giants liked about Devontae Booker was his versatility. We just saw him beat Sione Takitaki, and a nice play there by Corey Clement as he beats Anthony Walker, the fifth-year middle linebacker.
This is huge for the Giants to go through free agency, to get Devontae Booker, to get Corey Clement, because we know with the drop-off over the last 2 years with Saquon Barkley being injured, they didn't have multi-purpose backs to be backups to Saquon Barkley. They made sure when they went through free agency this year, they were going to hit on those points as well as the draft with Gary Brightwell.
Before today's practice, Giants head coach Joe Judge talked about the fact that Saquon Barkley They're increasing his workload. Now, he's not going to be involved in any of the individual stuff or team stuff against the Cleveland Browns, as are other injured players that are working their way back.
Well, that's a smart move. You don't want to rush them back, especially when we're talking about a 17-game season in 2021. So you want to make sure that they get their work, they continue to build on the conditioning, but more importantly than just being physically ready, it's being mentally ready to push yourself through those barriers that you might have coming from being injured and now getting ready to prepare and play live.
I know Giants fans out there that are watching this, they are excited to see what's going to happen. We touched upon it earlier in these one-on-one pass rush drills because I think it's going to be fascinating. You know, the Cleveland Browns have Myles Garrett. They have Malik Jackson. They have Andrew Billings, a veteran. They brought in Jadeveon Clowney. They brought in Tack McKinley, a former Atlanta Falcons player. They've got guys that can get pressure off the edge. And this is going to be a real test for this Giants starting offensive line.
It most certainly is, because you've got guys that can bend the edge. You've got defensive ends that are power rushers. You've got inside defensive tackles that can either split gaps or can have those bull rush moves to collapse the pocket for those edge rushers on the outside. That's why that one-on-one pass pro experience and, more importantly, the reps that they're going to receive today and tomorrow are going to be very beneficial for them honing in on their craft.
Yeah, and there's a lot of communication between the two organizations, because obviously you're not practicing against your teammates. You're practicing against a different team, different colors. The intensity level goes up. You've got to manage the intensity level to make sure it does not get out of hand as well.
No doubt about it. You want to compete and you want to go out here and put your best foot forward, but at the same time, you want to be smart, not injure anybody, and not get into any fights, because this is the exact environment that you're going to be in a regular season game. Who can keep their head when chaos is happening around them?
All right, we got to look at the Giants' first-team defense right now out on the field. You see Blake Martinez out there, and Cleveland's got their offense out on the field, and Nick Chubb, the tailback. There's the quarterback, Baker Mayfield, going into his fourth year out of Oklahoma. So this is going to be interesting to see as they run through their offense against the Giants defense.
No doubt about it, and it's not only the skill position players that the Cleveland Browns have, but you think about all 5 returning starters to their offensive line. A lot of people talk about them like they're a top 3 group in the NFL. So this defensive line is going to be challenged by different looks, not only in the zone running scheme, but they run power and a lot of misdirection.
See Leonard Williams, number 99, Logan Ryan out there for the Giants, Austin Johnson at the defensive tackle spot, Dexter Lawrence, Jedrick Wills is the starting left tackle, number 71, first-round pick out of Alabama. And this is a Cleveland team that really has a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball.
No question, and you've got to start with their two-headed monster out of the backfield. We know that when Baker Mayfield and this football team can run the football, that opens up everything vertically for them in their passing game, but it does. It starts with their offensive line. Jedrick Wills, Jack Conklin at right tackle. Those are the 2 bookends and the mainstays for this offensive line.
And you saw what a good look the Giants are getting right now that they don't normally see in practice because of the quarterbacks that they have on the roster, but 2 play action passes right now with Baker Mayfield, and you see his versatility and his speed, and it really has your defense on P's and Q's.
It most certainly does, because they want to change the launch point as much as possible and create a numbers game. And the one thing you always talk about as an offensive line is make it look and sound like run. If you can come tee off and get that linebacker or those safeties just to take a split step up or hesitate, that means that they're going to have the edge with the momentum.
Nick Chubb with the carry there, as one of the things that was a key to Cleveland last year was their ability to run the football. And the Giants, obviously defensively last year, made vast improvements in every category defensively, and they've added some more players to this mix to try to make sure that this defense remains as good, including number 75, Danny Shelton.
No doubt about it. I mean, we think about Danny Shelton, we think about inside Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. You know, you think about the Giants in 2020 with the ability to stop the run essentially with 4 defensive linemen and 1 linebacker. When you're facing this group, when they're going 2 tight ends, and when they have a running back like Nick Chubb who can run through arm tackles and get those yards after contact, this is the exact work that you need, because you know you can't just fit up. You've got to come through with your pads low and drive those legs through.
Danny Shelton, number 75, he's familiar with this facility. He was the Browns' first-round draft pick in 2015, taken 12th overall, spent last year with the Lions. All right, now we got the Giants offense working against the defense, the starting defense of the Cleveland Browns.
And this is a great work for this offensive line, because you talked about, and we both talked about, this defense under Joe Woods. They're going to present multiple looks to this offensive line, and we'll see how much their communication, but more importantly, how much in cohesion their footwork is together.
How about Evan Ingram right there on that little seam route, splitting the defense, and Daniel Jones put it right on him.
It's a great sign for this Giants team, because we know with the addition with their other tight ends coming in, even though he's injured right now, Kyle Rudolph, we know that Evan Ingram is one of those athletes that can really bring a strength to an offense, and you want to attack the weakness of a defense. So if he can continue to polish in on his skills and really focus on catching the football and bringing it all the way in, those are the exciting things when you look at the options that the Giants have at the wide receiver position as well.
Yeah, Case Keenum, the veteran quarterback, in taking these reps, and the Giants, Xavier McKinney, and the rest of that front did a nice job of stringing out that run against Demetric Felton, the rookie running back out of UCLA.
Well, Case Keenum was a natural bring-in for them, because he obviously has his time in Minnesota where Kevin Stefanski was his offensive coordinator, so they brought him along to be that veteran behind Baker Mayfield to really let him hone in on his craft and hopefully have a better season in 2021.
All right, you saw Mike Glennon hook up with David Sills, who's really making a push, David, to make this Giant ball club. He's had a good camp so far.
It's a great thing that we're seeing a lot of the young players step up and continue to have positive camps. And David Sills is one of those players. We know that that is a heavy group and it's a deep group at wide receiver. But the more that you continue to improve and the more that you show up on film, the better off you're going to be when it comes cut time.
So right now it's the Browns twos against the Giants twos on offense and defense. As get a look at the Giants trying to work on their run game a little bit, and that's Eli Penny spinning his way through. But so far it looks like the players have themselves under control as far as you can feel the intensity. This feels like a different practice.
It definitely feels like a different practice. You can hear the pads hitting, and it is only the first drill. You know, once you start getting into blitz periods and things start getting ratcheted up, when you start going third down and red zone, that's where more of the intensity picks up.
Fedi Adenabo and the Giants second-team defense doing a nice job there, David, of stringing out the run as we go to the Giants second-team offense against the Browns second-team defense. And Mike Glennon able to hit Cullen Gillespie, the fullback, who is in his third year in the NFL, trying to unseat Eli Penny and take that job. You feel like the Giants definitely want to keep a fullback in this offense.
No doubt about it. You definitely want to keep a fullback in this offense. You love having that H-back that can do multiple things. You can line him up at the tight end position. You can keep him at that fullback position. But it just gives you multiple options with the schemes and packages you want to run week in and week out.
Nice job there done by the Giants. Devontae Downs made the tackle. What about number 49, Carter Coughlin, getting turns at the inside?
It's awesome for him to continue to show his versatility and add reps to his game and his repertoire. We know that he came on strong last year as a rookie and gained a lot of game experience, but the fact that now they have him playing multiple positions, you never know how things are going to turn out during the regular season, and if there's going to be injuries someplace, who are the players that are valuable backups that can do multiple things but also can contribute on special teams?
All right, the Giants' first-team defense is back in here against Baker Mayfield and the first-team offense of the Cleveland Browns. Kareem Hunt, the tailback here, and Mayfield's going to throw it again on that play action and zips it outside and completes it. That's Jarvis Landry making the catch on James Bradbury.
That's a great challenge for James Bradbury going up against Jarvis Landry out here. We know Jarvis Landry is quick twitch. He can run all the routes and the combinations and in the tree. So this is a great work for James Bradbury and the rest of his secondary as they continue to improve for the types of athletes they're going to play up against this season.
Again, Giants' first-team defense going against the Browns' first-team offense. On the other side of the field, it's the first-team Giants offense going against the Browns' defense. And Kareem Hunt takes the handoff. Giants do a nice job of filling their gaps there, David.
A very nice job by Leonard Williams holding off the double team on the backside so that there was no lane or a crease for a cutback.
Let's see what Daniel Jones can do here on the other side of the field as the Giants' first-team offense working against the Browns' defense. And as we've talked about, a very talented Cleveland Browns defense. And completion there to Darius Slayton, who's got 11 career touchdown catches through his first 2 seasons. Back to Baker Mayfield against the Giants' first-team defense. Again, the Giants doing a nice job on the run game, and Kareem Hunt, Tate Crowder filling that middle there nicely for the Giants, and the Giants defensive line doing a nice job of gap control, David.
They're doing a great job, and for the fans that are sitting here watching this at home, watch the Browns playbook offensively, how their bootlegs and nakeds off of the play action look identical to the run. Those are the things that were beneficial for them in 2020 and beneficial to Baker Mayfield.
Corey Clement slicing through. If that name looks familiar there, number 17 for the Cleveland Browns is Kyle Lauletta, the former Giant 4th-round draft pick at quarterback. He's third string, had a pretty nice run in their first preseason game for the Browns.
Yeah, he got a ton of work in their first preseason game. You know, they're going to use Case Keenum sparingly. So, you know, Kyle Lauletta got a lot of work in this previous game, and I'm sure he will up against us on Sunday.
Now Brian Lewerke, who the Giants just signed, former Michigan State quarterback, in with that third group. C.J. Board with the catch for the Giants. Now back to the Browns offense against the Giants defense. And the Giants lose a little contain there as far as their gap assignments are concerned, David.
They edged it at the nose position, and that's why they were able to run off a guard and tackle with the movement of the tackle and tight end on their double team. So anytime that you're running that inside zone and you're able to edge the defense at the nose tackle position, that's what creates those clean open running lanes like we just saw for the Cleveland Browns.
You know, at the end of that last play, we saw number 27 for the Giants. That's Josh Jackson. Second-round pick of the Packers in 2018. The Giants traded this week Isaac Yiadom to the Green Bay Packers, and they were able to pick up Jackson, who is a guy that, you know, was thought highly by the Green Bay Packers. They took him in the second round. His career hasn't materialized, but the Giants trying to upgrade the backup position at the cornerback spot.
No doubt about it. You think about all the moves they made to this Giants secondary, it's all about being able to be versatile, not only run man, but run different types of zone coverages on that back end. So this may be a new opportunity for him to reinvent himself and get himself another opportunity to prove that he could be a starting cornerback in the NFL.
We're at the Browns facility in Berea, Ohio, just outside of Cleveland, and watching the Giants and Browns underway with dual practices both today and on Friday. On Sunday, they'll play in Cleveland on a Sunday afternoon game. All right, David, are we going to get the one-on-ones here? No, not yet. Not yet.
Looks like we're back into team periods. I think they were just giving a breather and getting some water.
So Giant first-team defense working against the Browns first-team offense. And the Giants starting offense. What about that right tackle spot for the Giants?
Well, obviously, Matt Parrott has started in slotting right now at the starting right tackle position, but he's not giving up any work by Nate Solder. You know, Nate Solder is a crafty veteran, obviously opted out last year due to COVID, came back this year. He looks a little bit leaner, looks like he's in a little bit better shape, and he's going to challenge Matt Parrott. But the thing that I love about Matt Parrott was the fact that last year, his rookie year, got opportunities to play not only at right tackle and left tackle, but they also used him as a jumbo tight end. So as long as he continues to hone in on his techniques, tying his hands, his feet together in pass protection, but moreover, just getting a little bit more of that mean streak, that nasty streak, and finishing plays, I think he'll do an unbelievable job for the Giants.
Looked like Nick Chubb of the Browns creased that Giant defense a little bit. There was a nice little gap in there.
Yeah, that's the one thing you know about Nick Chubb. The minute that he sees daylight, he's putting his foot in the ground and going north and south, and he does a great job of contorting his body and turning his body so that there's no contact or no place to wrap him up.
See Xavier McKinney at one of the safety spots for the Giants. Lorenzo Carter. These are ones versus ones, starting offense for the Browns against the starting defense for the Giants. Logan Ryan making sure everybody's set up. Getting different looks than what you see in practice every day for sure. Mayfield. Jarvis Landry makes the catch. Saw Odell Beckham Jr., who was traded to Cleveland Browns a couple of years ago, come walking out earlier. He's not participating in a lot of these team periods.
No, obviously coming off of the injury. Once again, they have him on a pitch count. He's not practicing live and doing full competition. But obviously, good to see him. Good to see him out here. And I'm sure he's excited to see some of his former teammates.
All right, Daniel Jones again working it over the middle. Darius Slayton makes the catch. And that's the other thing, too, right about your timing, is just Yeah, now you're going against a different team, different speed, different players, different athletes. This is where you get a feel of if your timing is actually on or if it's not as sharp as it needs to be.
And it's not only the timing, but it's great to see some of the disguises that the defense is running, what they're showing you on the back end pre-snap compared to post-snap, and the amount of movement that they're running. So this is, once again, continued to be a great test for this Giants football team because of the amount of different looks that they're going to receive compared to when they're used to going to either Jason Garrett or Patrick Graham's defense.
This Giants starting offense working against the Browns starting defense. And Daniel Jones throws one off in the right flat, and again Slayton makes the catch. Kareem Hunt with a nice move right there. And a nice gain there for the Browns. So having a little success against the Giants' second unit of the defensive front. Well, actually not the second unit. They just shuffled in defensive linemen, but you see Blake Martinez is out there calling the signals. Now Aziz Ojulari is out there.
Yep. It was a great opportunity for him to get some looks up against some veterans.
How about Shane Lemieux back at left guard for the Giants?
Great to have him back in the lineup and continue to get the reps and development between him, Nick Gates, and Andrew Thomas. And we know that he was a stalwart, and when you put him in a phone box, he is a mauler. He's continued to hone in on his pass pro, making sure he stays inside out, and more importantly, not falling for some of the double moves he received last year from defensive linemen.
Landry with a nice one-handed catch. Prior to that, you saw Greg Newsome, the first-round draft pick out of Northwestern for the Browns, make a nice play against Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Greg Newsome is one of those players, first-round draft pick, long, lengthy, quick twitch defensive back, is able to jump routes and have some of his eyes and timing with the quarterback's eyes. He made a play on that one.
And you're getting some good looks if you're looking at it from the Giants' standpoint of even two working against this secondary, as Daniel Jones is able to complete the pass right there in front of Greedy Williams, who, by the way, his brother is a member of the New York Giants, Rodarius Williams, the rookie.
Yeah, and the Rodarius Williams keeps making plays. He's been showing up in training camp, making plays on the defensive side of the ball as well as special teams. So I'm sure they're excited to have bragging rights on who walks away with a better day in camp today.
Giants rotating in personnel on the defensive side of the ball. Browns have a lot of their backup offensive linemen in. The Giants' first-team offense with Daniel Jones working against the Browns' first-team defense in team period.
And for those fans at home, I'm sure they just watched that. One great thing that we're seeing out of this Giants offense, a lot of stems and motions pre-snap, trying to see, are we getting man coverage? Are they in zone coverage? And more importantly, trying to get that hesitation out of the D.
Browns able to get the edge there with Demetrius Felton. And, you know, we talk about, well, the second unit's in. Well, you know what? You're just one injury away from being in the first unit.
No doubt about it. Every play, every rep that you have out here, you've got to maximize each and every opportunity, because come soon, it could be your last. So what you put on this tape is what the coaches are going to watch, they're going to evaluate, and the more reps that you continue to build up and the more confidence you continue to build up, that's when the confidence from the coaches will come too.
Mike Glennon, and that pass incomplete, nearly picked off. Richard LeCount, rookie fifth-round pick out of Georgia, made the play for the Browns.
Now, as you can see, a lot of rotation of bodies as they've gotten into the groups 2 and 3.
Yeah, Quincy Wilson, number 28, fifth-year pro out of Florida, who spent last year on the Jets practice squad, a former second-round pick of the Colts, wears number 28 for the Giant defense. Glennon with the completion. And that's Ryson John, who is a guy that, you know, certainly has caught the coach's attention so far in training camp.
Absolutely. He's definitely got the coach's attention, and the more that they can continue to develop him, and the more that he can continue to make some special teams impact plays, that's when you know that you can show your sign and how valuable you are to a 53-man roster.
Backup defensive lineman Elijah Qualls, who the Giants signed here in camp, out on the field, and now back over the offensive side of the ball, and Mike Glennon.
Newly signed New York Giant Ted Larson, 69, lined up at the left guard position right there.
He was suited up for the preseason game as Penny makes the catch, but as Joe Judge told the media earlier today, it's not really fair to put a guy in the game that has not taken a single snap in training camp.
No, that'd be very difficult when you haven't even fully gone through the game plan in your playbook and to throw you out there into live action. So we know that he's a veteran. He'll get acclimated very quickly. And once you have a defensive lineman across from you, like this Cleveland Browns defensive line, it'll come quick.
Well, you know, one of the things, you want to keep your feet. And if you saw Andy Janovich, the fullback for the Browns there, you saw Body go down. That was his teammate, though, Kadaro Hodge. He knocked him over. It wasn't a Giant that knocked him over.
Friendly fire.
The Giants did cut Alfred Morris to get down to 85. They want to see more out of Brightwell, who has not been on the field as much as they would have liked to this point.
No, and you know, as a rookie running back, it's not only about the running schemes, but it's about pass protection. You got to be able to pick up stunts and blitzes, because you know that's one reason that you're going to be able to play on third down.
Quarterback Brian Lewerke, who the Giants just signed this week, signed as a free agent with the Patriots last year. He was a 3-year starter at Michigan State, and he holds the Michigan State record for most total yards for a quarterback in his career with 9,548. And he's got some wheels because in his career he had 1,255 yards rushing. David, so far from what we've seen here in these team periods, what's kind of jumped out at you?
I think, number one, the play action and the bootleg scheme that the Cleveland Browns are running with Baker Mayfield to start. But for me, offensively, for the Giants, I love all the different stems and the motions pre-snap to really set themselves up for success. That's one thing I think we're all looking from out of Jason Garrett in this offense when you have a player like Kadarius Toney.
All right, we're having a lot of fun here in Cleveland, getting an opportunity to watch the Giants and the Cleveland Browns, and it's fun to watch, and it's pretty intense, and you certainly get a sense of a different level of competition, and that's what coaches want.
Absolutely, especially when we start getting into the one-on-ones between the defensive backs and the wide receivers and the O-line and the D-line.
Yeah, and obviously for all those clips, you could always go to Giants.com, and we're going to have another view of practice here in Cleveland tomorrow. So for David Diehl and our entire crew, I'm Bob Papa. Thanks for joining us for the Giants Training Camp Report, brought to you by Investors Bank.